Hello, everyone who lives in the great city of Albany, New York, and also Albany County, Schenectady, Troy, Rensselaer, East Greenbush, Half Moon, Saratoga, the Tri-City area, Hudson Valley, and... Alright, here I'm going to draw only the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley, because we had to draw the line somewhere. Also, a great big welcome to our virtual studio audience. There it is. Yes. Give yourselves a round of applause. Normally, this studio would be filled with hundreds, if not thousands, of guests. But due to COVID regulations, we have to go virtual. Yes, that's it. Due to COVID is why we don't have an audience. It's COVID. This is the Albany News Update Show, and I am your effervescent host, Jonathan Madden, and it is great to be back after an 18-year hiatus from the last time we put on a show. Of course, that was when we could only broadcast on public access television, which meant the show was watched by a total of 8 people. 8, and 7 of whom only watched because their remote control was broken and couldn't figure out how to change the channel manually. Of course, a lot can change in 18 years. My sons are all teenagers now, and hanging out with Dad is literally the last thing they want to do, which means I have a lot more time on my hands. A lot more time. I'm hip, kids. Really, I am. But what can also change in 18 years is the smartphone, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and God knows what other brain-rotting social media platforms are out there. But after 18 years, it's time to get back in the saddle and start this puppy up again. Now, some of you may be asking, Jonathan, why start a satirical news program centered around Albany? Isn't Albany the armpit of New York? To which I reply, no. Utica is the armpit of New York.
Well, aren't there 2 armpits?
On a regular human body, yes, there are 2 armpits, but I'm just thinking of a single armpit.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Albany's not an armpit, all right? It's Utica. But seriously, I was born in Albany, St. Peter's Hospital, raised in Albany, attended school in Albany, got my ass kicked at Albany High School. Yes, I think it was part of the ritual. I attended Siena College, graduating cum laude from the acclaimed computer science program. Yes, Siena has a computer science program. I know, yes. Esteemed computer science program. And this show is something I think is needed. To poke a little fun at the capital of the greatest state in the United States of America. Do we still have the United States of America? Is it here? Yeah, I think it's still here. Okay, yes, still here. All right.
There's a line down the middle of it.
There's a line. I can feel the line. I can feel the line, but it's still here. So, ultimately, I just want to be famous enough that I can grab a woman by the hand, shake it vigorously, and thank her for watching this show. New to the show is an associate of mine who will offer wit, commentary, and opinions on the myriad of going-ons here in the Capital Region. Everyone in the virtual studio audience, please welcome Mr. Brian Mckenzie. Mckenzie here. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Jonathan, no, I'd rather not.
You'd rather? Okay, that's fair. Fair enough.
No one cares.
No one cares. I should... You're probably right. But we have a show to put on, so let's get to it with some local updates. Of course, we can't ignore the fact that COVID cases have been skyrocketing, but have no fear. County Executive Dan McCoy says, please don't panic. Well, I wasn't panicking until you said not to panic, because the only reason not to panic is if there's a good reason to panic, and now...
I'm freaking out, man.
But seriously, folks, stay safe, do your civic duty, and help your fellow Albanians by reposting the latest COVID conspiracy theory on social media to make yourself feel better. Albany, working together for a panic-free tomorrow. Thank you, Dan McCoy. The Times-Union reported that in the city of Schenectady, a garbage truck driver has been fired after crashing the truck into a bridge and discovering the individual had been driving without a valid license for the past 3 or 4 years. Years, people. County officials are reviewing their garbage truck, don't ask, don't tell driver's license policy. I don't think it's working out.
Said that this broadcast was not going to get trashy.
I don't think I ever said that. But moving on, the Daily Gazette reported that a driver from the city of Schenectady managed to get his car stuck on a railroad crossing in Half Moon and was able to get out of the car before it was hit by a passing train. Why was the car stuck on the tracks, you ask? Well, sheriff's deputies determined the driver to be intoxicated, which wasn't the first time this happened to this particular driver. But wait, you may ask, don't we have devices that lock the car if the driver is drunk? And the answer is yes. Yes, we have those things, but they only work if the device is placed in the car, which in this case it wasn't, even though it was supposed to be, which makes us question the whole point of those devices, but that's a story for another show. The driver was processed and released with a date to appear in court later. Hopefully he called for an Uber with 4-wheel drive for the ride to Reno. Now let's move over to Colony, where multiple news sources reported that an employee at the Wolf Road Super 8 motel is facing 2 felony charges after he allegedly stabbed a guest at the motel early New Year's Day. Super 8 executives are rethinking their implementation of the complimentary wake-up stabbing service. Yes, I heard it was popular until it wasn't. And they're also canceling their new marketing slogan, Super 8, full of hate, will stab you if you stay up late. I don't think that went over too well. And after 27 years, Williams-Sonoma is closing its doors in Crossgates Mall. Store officials state they should have closed 8 years earlier, since that's the last time they sold something, but they were keeping their fingers crossed that business would turn around. Now, did you ever shop at Williams-Sonoma?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's expensive. $43 for a whisk. Last time I checked the website, $43 for a whisk.
I whisked away from Williams-Sonoma.
Good. Well, you know what the other thing too is now that we have space opened up in Crossgates, another mystery room escape adventure is probably going to be filled in there, or a Halloween costume store at the appropriate time, or something of that nature. So.
I buy everything online.
We'll see. You are not alone. You are not alone. It was nice to see you, Williams-Sonoma, after all these years. We hardly knew you. Governor Kathy Hochul, in a recent press conference, invited a recent Jeopardy contestant from New York to re-answer a question. Or is it re-question and answer? I've never figured that out. Anyways, the contestant didn't respond to the question/answer. In 2021, she became the first woman governor of New York State. Now, in her statement, Governor Hochul said, New Yorkers believe in second chances. New Yorkers believe in second... Hey, not you, not you. Not second chance. No, not. Get down, stay down. Second chances, not for you. All right, another news. An RV driver rammed 2 police cars during a 2-county pursuit, according to New York State troopers. They finally apprehended the man after he pulled into a Duanesburg driveway. State police were able to return Mr. Shirley to his distraught wife, and he also declined to press charges against the RV driver, who just went by Eddie, chalking it up to a simple misunderstanding regarding Christmas bonuses.
I saw what you did there.
You saw what I did, yes.
Frank Shirley.
The RV, great movie, Christmas Vacation, everyone. The Daily Gazette reported that the American Dairy Association Northeast is ending their Dairy Princess program and replacing it with the New York State Dairy Ambassador program. This way, the program is open to people of all genders and we're assuming sexual orientation, and they're doing this to provide a more inclusive program. Instead of a sash and tiara, you get a name tag. Now, regardless of what side of the fence you're on regarding this change, I just want to point out that the coolest thing about being an ambassador is that you can say this to anyone who questions your authority.
Diplomatic community.
Yes, and that, Brian, is about the most awesome thing in the world. So, Because you can't say that if you're a princess. You can say that.
I'm utterly confused.
Yes, it sounds like you are. I apologize in advance, audience. We might be doing this all show. Definitely read the article in the Gazette. I think they do a fantastic job of writing the story in such a way that you know a lot of people are peeved about this change, but it's written such that it presents both sides in a very civil way. Although, if you visit the American Dairy Association Northeast website, they still have the princesses. They're not giving up that easy. All right, moving on. Governor Kathy Hochul also delivered her first State of the State address recently, promising to implement a sweeping agenda to combat gun violence, improve the healthcare industry, expand educational opportunities, take further steps on the climate crisis, prop up the agricultural industry, crack down on tooth fairy home invasions, strengthen gingerbread house building regulations, look into the extremely liberal use of yoga pants, and establish a program to give a unicorn to every resident of the state.
Promises, promises. Why do I believe?
And she also, and I'm paraphrasing here, she also told Cuomo and de Blasio to suck it. Of course, she also introduced a plan for ethics reform, and 2 days later, her office was accused of using taxpayer-paid flights for campaign events, which is a big no-no, so it's nice to see that things are progressing as they always have. I had such high hopes, Brian. High hopes. Only 48 hours for a scandal to hit. 48 hours. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time in the show to introduce a segment where our illustrious Brian Mckenzie gets a chance to rant a little on something unique and special about Albany. So without further ado, I present to you the BMAC Attack.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've been tasked by ANUS.
ANUS, is that what we're calling ourselves? ANUS? Say it, Brian. Say the acronym.
I will not
Say
say
it.
Jonathan. I will not say it.
All right, well, I'll get you to.
Anyway, I've been tasked by ANUS to explore whether the naming of the egg in Albany's downtown accurately depicts its shape. Some people, well, actually only Jonathan, think that maybe the nomenclature doesn't fit.
It doesn't look like an egg.
Exactly what are we talking about here? The building, designed by Harrison and Abramowitz as part of the Empire State Plaza project, Nelson A. Rockefeller's attempt at trying to give Albany a facelift back in the 60s and 70s, is a performing arts center that has become iconic in this area for said shape and its location within the city. Perhaps many of you in the viewing audience have had the opportunity to scramble out on occasion and catch a show. For those of you who prefer your eggs fried, even Fish's Mike Gordon has performed at the Egg, and subsequently released a live album named, of course, The Egg.
Sounds appropriate.
Fans of the band say it's an excellent performance.
He's not going.
Anyway, I digress. Back to the issue at hand. Does the egg look like an egg? From the side, it's arguable. Myself, well, it reminds me of one of those tubs that you put your feet in for a massage. Put some water in, a little Epsom salts, turn on the switch, and sit back and enjoy. I kind of had a vision of a huge bedpan, but no, it's too high on one side. The patient would be tipping over.
That would not be good.
The contents of the pan would be spilling.
Yes.
That's not pretty, and it's not practical.
Not.
A spaceship, possibly. I envision the alien intruders exiting the spaceship, observing the surroundings, determining there is nothing noteworthy at this Albany location, and boarding back onto their ship to explore other destinations. Ship's coordinates set for Lake George and the annual polar bear plunge. Bikinis in January in upstate New York, the aliens are in. ANUS is G-rated, thus I'll move it along. I decided to explore further and get some better angles to view the structure. From underneath, you're too close. It's just not a good vantage point. Scaling the egg was out of the question. I'd most certainly crack my head wide open.
No, this is not going well.
Get it? Crack my head wide open?
Yes, I get it.
I threw that in there just to get the pun in, frankly. It's absurd to even think about scaling that structure. I'm certainly not ambitious enough to rent a helicopter to view it from the air. Also, I'm not getting paid for this gig, thus, no way I'm kicking in out of my personal funds. After Googling dozens of photos of the egg, there were several that were taken from a vantage point above the structure. Lo and behold, the damn thing does look like an egg from this view. My best guess would be a chicken egg in shape, to be exact. One could make an argument for the emu egg.
One could.
Well, there you go. It seems it's okay after all to refer to the egg as the egg. 50 plus years after the initial naming of the structure, and not once, not even once before now, have I ever heard of anyone questioning whether it was an accurate depiction. I've got to be honest. I haven't ever been to the egg in my 60 years existence on this planet. That is no yoke, folks. Jonathan, I'm afraid we've got some egg on our faces after this report. I think you've set me up. Shall we say, eggs Benedict Arnold?
No, we will not say
The
that.
story is over easy. The egg is the egg. I am the Eggman. Goo goo gajoob, goo goo gagoo, goo goo gajoob.
Yeah, little Beatles reference there, I see. Way to rope that in. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Mckenzie with his BMAC attack. Thank you, Brian. I look forward to your next rant, musing, observations, diatribes, whatever that may be.
I don't.
I'm sure you don't. The Daily Gazette reported that elected officials from Schenectady and Glenville were sworn in on texts of personal significance. Sarah Mae Pratt was sworn in as a Schenectady County legislator while placing her hand on a cell phone showing a text saying, "You go, girl, you got this." While Chris Kotzel was sworn in for his next term as Glenville supervisor while placing his hand on a cell phone showing a text that said, "Who the man? Chris K is the man." Yes, those.
I don't think they were sworn in on those types of texts.
It said texts of personal significance. I think those are pretty.
A text is a book?
Could be
A Bible?
Oh, those texts. I could have sworn. For the younger viewers, a book is something that we used to use before cell phones. They didn't require batteries. You didn't have to worry about losing the contents, but that's another story. That's another story as well. Stewart Shops is closing its store in Colony. But wait, where will we ever find a Stewart Shop in the Capital Region? Said no one ever. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for joining us once again on the Albany News Update Show. Stay tuned for our next episode, probably in a few weeks. We're not getting paid and we both still have busy lives, but we'll try and get on some sort of regular schedule. And please support the local news. Subscribe, watch, tune in, whether it be print, whether it be radio, whether it be television. It's important to stay informed about what's going on in our capital region. And who knows, maybe a story you read about or watch will be featured in our next broadcast. Everyone stay safe, take care. Until next time, peace.